Hey, how you doing? It's me again. No pink rod today, but we're going to be drinking some Scotch and we're going to be talking about Katherine kULTURE. We've got Randomness here. He's my Scotch expert. He's going to tell you how to drink Scotch without Coke. I'm not sure about how to do that, but he's going to tell us all about it. Take it away, Randomness.
Alright, so what we're going to be tackling here today is if you're tasting a new bottle of Scotch for the first time, we're going to go through the Murray method on how to taste Scotch. And the Murray method was pioneered by Jim Murray, as found in his Whiskey Bibles. Now Jim Murray has tried over 5,000 different sorts of Scotch and written down a review on every single one. He's tried Scotch all over the world. If you haven't heard of Jim Murray, you're probably not a Scotch drinker. And basically what you want to do is, before you start drinking a Scotch, is you drink some just straight black coffee, or you can eat some 90% cacao chocolate, which cleanses the palate, especially of sugars. So you want to get all the palate that cleansed. Then what you want to do is you want to, when you wash your hands and stuff like this, don't use anything that's perfumed, otherwise it can affect the smell of the Scotch and everything as you're trying it.
Wouldn't that be good?
What?
Well, then you could smell like roses.
No, you would smell the perfume from your hand and not the actual smell of the Scotch itself.
Like rose.
There's no...
What if you had a vanilla like scent on your hand?
Actually, there is a vanilla Scotch, and that's the Glenfiddich 18-year-old. A very strong vanilla and malt Scotch. Malt flavours are one of my favourites. So what we're going to be drinking today is the Talisker Storm. Right there.
Talisker Storm. Talisker Storm. Sorry.
Now, Talisker Storm is one of the the Talisker brand itself is one of the classic malts of Scotland, as well as Oban and Glenfarclas and Glenfiddich. Although Glenfiddich, they don't really count as a classic malt of Scotland. I think they should. It's just really good stuff, and they sell the most of it. Most popular single malt Scotch in the world is Glenfiddich.
I have to agree with that.
Yep. But then the step 3 of the Murray method, pretty much,
Can I just tell you one thing?
Yeah.
Glenfiddich goes really well with Coke.
Daryl's a troll, if anyone knows Daryl. It's terrible. He sit here and he drank Scotch with me heaps of times, and I've never seen him drink it with Coke. Use a tulip-shaped glass, like these two here. The reason for this is that the alcohol will stay on the bottom of the glass once aromas come up to the top, and it's fluted, so all the alcohol evaporates now, but you just get the aroma of the Scotch. And the reason it's got the stem on it is so you can heat it up with your hand. So your hand heats up with it while you cover the top like this until some condensation forms. So it warms it up, which loosens some molecules. If anyone paid attention in science class at school there, a loosened molecule is more excited. It jumps around a lot more, which means that the flavours and smells are unlocked easier. Whereas the opposite effect happens if you add ice. Never add ice. That's a rookie mistake. If you're just drinking Scotch by itself for a tasting, never add ice. Constricts the molecules, locks in the smells and flavours. It's one of the worst things you can do to a good Scotch, is adding ice. Not to mention the fact that it waters it down. And if it's watered down, it can no longer technically be called a Scotch. Because to be called a Scotch, it has to be aged in an oak barrel for 4 years. And then also it has to be above 40% alcohol volume. So if it goes below 40% alcohol volume, because of watering down, it's technically not a Scotch. Fun fact.
So if you drink it with Coke, it's definitely not a Scotch.
Definitely not a Scotch anymore.
Okay.
That would be an abomination to both God and man. So then what you want to do is you take your first sip, and just a real tiny sip after you smell it from nose to nose. So basically you put the tip of the glass up. You don't want to duck your whole nose in there and all that. You just put the glass up to about where your top lip is, and show it from nostril to nostril, short, just breathing normally, because you don't want to get big whiffs of alcohol or anything which will ruin your smelling of the Scotch. Eyes closed. Do it in a nice room that's free from distraction, you know. Then what you do as well is, after you smell it nose to nose, take one small little sip, which will shock the palate, and get it prepared for what's happening next. Then you take a second larger sip, which you chew around in your mouth, up and down, back and forth, and just chew it while slightly opening your mouth, slightly let the alcohol out, so you get the full flavour of the Scotch. And that's the correct way to sip and try Scotches. If you were just everyday drinking Scotch at home, for instance, my everyday drinking Scotch is Glenfiddich 12-year-old, I would mix that with ice and a bit of ginger ale, no worries. But if you're tasting a Scotch for the first time, use the Moe method and really draw out the flavours and everything of it. Alright, so... Ironically enough, New Zealand does do Scotch. They technically got to call it whiskey, for it's not from Scotland. And actually, let me find it here for you. It was one of the funniest Scotch reviews I've ever read in my life. Yes, the Kiwi Whiskey it's called. Let me just read out the review for you here. It scored 37 out of 100. And
That's pretty good.
No, it's pretty bad. In Jim Murray's own words, "Struth, I mean, what can you say? Perhaps the first whiskey containing single malt offering virtually no nose at all, and the flavour appears to be grain neutral spirit, plus lashings of caramel and, so I'm told, some Lamalore single malt. The word bland has been redefined, as has whiskey."
It's pretty harsh to our Kiwi friends.
Yes, it is a bit harsh to our Kiwi friends. So that's just the guys at Kiwi Whiskey. The others do okay. They score around 80. But yeah, it's just avoid New Zealand whiskey. To smell the flavours. Smell the flavours and unlock the potential of the Scotch. No, you snort the flavour of Coke. You don't smell it. I can't even do that right. So that's the way to do that. You never ever mix it with ice. If you're tasting, like everyone enjoys Scotch a different way, and it's up to you to find out the way you do it. But in the Moe method, and I find it to be true, is when you're tasting Scotch, if you put ice and everything in, it constricts the molecules. You lock in the flavours, you lock in the smells. It's one of the worst things you can do to a good Scotch, is put ice with it. Also, avoid Johnny Walker. Just stay away from Johnny Walker. It's just terrible stuff. It's all blended together to have that iconic Johnny Walker taste, which is just terrible.
Just like to say we have
yes, we also have Cuban cigars, but I'll show you the correct way to smoke a cigar maybe next week.
I was just saying, the views in this video are not the views of the person making it. We apologise to Johnny Walker. We don't know anyway.
Yes, Johnny Walker, actually, like, I'm not a fan of Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker is a terrible flavour, but the single malt industry owes its success to Johnny Walker because there's not too many Scotch aficionados out there, so the single malt Scotch would not be able to succeed as a business without Johnny Walker, because Johnny Walker buys all their single malts and blends them together into their iconic Johnny Walker brand. So for that, we say thank you to Johnny Walker, but it's a Scotch I personally myself do not enjoy.
I enjoy it with Coke.
I've tried it with Coke, it still tastes like Johnny Walker. Oh, fantastic. That's a lot like the Lug of Ireland, it's less harsh.
That was a good...
Well, not that harsh, I should say. The Lug of Ireland is very smoky and ashy. It's one of my favourite Scotches.
That was the one with
this is smoky
the
and
peat
ash.
in it?
Yeah, this is a
that
peat.
was a really nice one.
Oh yeah, it's one of my favourites. So this is like that peat one, but not as strong with the peat smell.
Well, maybe we'll just put this put it back in the box. Or?
Yeah, put it in the box. Oh, this one actually smells really good.
It does. Mm.
You can smell it even from here.
I love it how, by the way, we're in randomness man cave at the moment.
It's a bit messy. I've got Iron Man building over here and I've got terrible shit everywhere.
Curvel everywhere.
This is our 90% cocoa chocolate. Doesn't taste very nice, but it does the job of cleansing the palate.
I do like chocolate.
Probably I'll get used to it eventually. I'll do it in my hand. And that Talisker Scotch is located on the Isle of Islay. So you get a lot of the Talisker, the sea salt and everything gets into the oak barrels as a curing for 12 odd years and creates like a really sea briny flavour to it, which gives the iconic Talisker taste, which is really good stuff. So first we take a small sip and swallow it instantly just to shock the palate, so you don't get that alcohol burn you normally get when you drink. Oh, that's magnificent. But you're not meant to taste that one. but it's hard not to because it just straight away goes.
That's so nice.
It is. I really enjoy that. And then take a bigger sipping, swish it around your mouth, chew it up and down just to get the flavour of it. Wow, this is fantastic. This is a really good Scotch. So you got the smoke and ash and campfire taste that you do with your Lug of Islands, but it's a very sweet, fruity taste to it too. Well, not fruity.
It has a sweet flavour.
Yeah, it's a very sweet flavour to it, like a, I don't know, how would you describe that?
Well, it's a whiskey, so it's a sweet whiskey, but not. It isn't a sweet whiskey. It's not a sweet whiskey. Don't listen to us.
It is a sweet whiskey. This is one of the sweetest whiskeys I've tasted. It's not like sweet sugar sweet, but it's just like you taste it, smoke and ash, and there's a very sweet flavour to it. Really reminds you of the ocean when you smell it. You can really smell the salt.
I can smell the salt.
Oh yeah.
I can taste the salt.
I can just close my eyes and see me drinking this on a beach.
One of those London beaches, you know, well not London,
The cold grey ones, yeah.
Yeah, the cold grey ones, yeah. The Scottish beaches.
So you can't actually swim because it's fucking freezing.
Yeah, and the Loch Ness monsters in there or some tentacle things from Doctor Who. Cut.
Now if I were Doctor Who and that, I'd just like Loch Ness monster stuff. I'm like, I'm only quarter Scottish, so I'm like, am I quarter offended by that? Maybe. I think that's where I get my love of Scotch and single malt Scotch and shortbread from, being quarter Scottish. I don't know where I get my love of cigars from. I don't know where that's from, but I like cigars too. Yeah, that's pretty good.
What am I tasting there? What do you think?
A lot of salt and ocean brine and stuff.
Yeah, but there's what is
to pick that out.
Is it? I don't know. It almost a bit like linseed or something.
No, I don't know what it is. It's like a, almost like that taste of pear that the Glenfiddich 12-year-old gets.
Yeah, but not. It's not a strong thing. The salt is there. It's a lot.
This is really delicious. I might have a contender for a new favourite Scotch. Lug of Island might have to move aside. Actually, one of my favourites is the Ardbeg Corrivec, and oh, that's really good stuff. But it's 57% alcohol, so you've got to go easy on it. It's pretty much absinthe, but with flavour. It's really good.
So anyway, I'd just like to thank everyone for viewing this video. We're hopefully to make a few more parts. We're going to do T-bone steaks, and we're going to do some cigars.
Yes. The correct way to cook a steak. A lot of people think they know how to cook a steak.
Hang on a minute. Leave that for another day.
That's a secret.
We've got another day. Anyway, see ya.
See ya.
See ya. Bye.
Holla.
Sayonara.
AIDS.